likes on every stream. If you can give me the faith, thanks so much.
Stratford, Connecticut, we're here. It's time for another dip into the past. And I am not alone today, by any means. I'm joined by a legendary character. A legendary legend, some might say. Someone that was there for all the stories we've been seeing from so long ago. All those tales we've been telling over the past months now. Someone that was there is here in the studio now. And let me introduce that man. He goes by the name of SKISONIC. How are you feeling, my friend Ski?
Feeling pretty good. How you doing?
It is legendary to have you with us today. We're really happy that you agreed to it. So thanks so much, man. It means a lot to us over here. To have the voice of someone that was there, rather than just the voice of us reading about the past. Now, you were actually there. So thanks so much, my friend, for your time.
Cool, man. Yeah, I didn't know that people were like looking at these podcasts and this time, but it was a lot of fun and like really a precursor to a lot of the stuff that we see today. So that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and how does it sound right now, guys? You got echo from SKISONIC, I'm hearing. All right, guys, hang on. We'll fix it. Now we go. Now we're fixed. Chew didn't fix it. We're good. SKISONIC, can you give that intro just a little? What'd you do today? What are you doing these days? Let us know. I want to make sure your audio is fine. What are you up to these days?
Yeah. These days, man, I am just like working a regular day job that's like not related to gaming. Although in the last couple of years, I've been like dabbling in game design as well. But I got like a nice like steady job that like holds me down. But outside of that, just trying to play whatever fighting game is new. I always like to keep up. I'm all like, I just love fighting games forever. So playing a little bit of Street Fighter 6, playing a little bit of MK1, and just like trying to stay up with all of the games. There's so much now.
Yeah, obviously, so much. And I want to get your thoughts on, I went back in your history of obviously the SRK forums. You joined in 2001, if you can believe it, which is obviously a pretty long time ago now. But you joined in 2001. God. What got you into there in the first place? How did you find yourself into the FGC like you did?
So I had just been like playing Street Fighter since I was like a little kid, right? Like you saw it in the arcade, thought it was the coolest thing. I found some local people when I was like 13 that I had been playing with for a real long time, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to high school and I met like a few people that were also playing like, we were like trying to be competitive, but we didn't know anything about the greater scene. We had like little local tournaments and stuff. But I tell you, like, I had this one friend, my friend Lupit, and we played all the time. He was like one of my best friends, good gaming friend. Like we played games together all the time. Yeah. We had a pretty close relationship. So what ends up happening is overnight, the guy gets like ridiculously better. Right, like he's playing Gambit and like Mega Man or whatever in MVC1, and then the next day he's like playing Strider, Red Venom and shit, and he's doing all these infinites. And I'm like, what did you do? How did you learn this? Where did this come from? And he says like he laughs and says go to shoryuken.com, and so I thought he was like trolling me because like shoryuken.com just sounds like, oh yeah, go to hadouken.net, which is also a site, but like I'm just like you can't find any information there. And like that is what eventually led me to it. I went to that website kind of like every day for like 6 months, and I was just looking at the front page and things. I didn't know that there were forums.
Yeah.
So really my join date should be like 6 months earlier, but I literally did not understand that you could go on forums, create an account, and post there. I went on IRC even before I went on the forums, I'm pretty sure, because I just didn't understand what forums were at that point. But eventually, between all of those things, I found my way to just like make an account on the forums. I think I was first posting about like Capcom versus SNK1 or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So, and also for your geography, because that's important for some people, you are definitely an East Coaster, right? You're an East Coast fighting game player, right?
Yeah. Okay. Since I'm Baltimore, Maryland, been East Coast for, pretty much most of my time. I went to college in the Midwest a little bit, and I've like been around a little bit, but always East Coast, Baltimore,
cool.
Maryland.
Okay, cool. I actually grew up about 30 minutes away from there. So anyway, so let's talk about also. So there's some famous places we've covered in this place on the Density Scrolls, like a place like Chinatown. Have you ever been there? Let's say, just to get us started here. Have you ever been to a place like Chinatown, which is in New York? Have you ever been there? Can you tell us any stories about Chinatown?
Chinatown, New York. Yeah, actually, so that was one of the places I went to school as well. I went to NYU for 1 year, so I went to Chinatown Fair every week while I was there.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah. That was it was dope. Like that's where I got to really be friends with the New York City scene. So at the time, guys like Justin Wong and Flash G, rest in peace, like Arturo Sanchez, I had already kind of been friends with, but got to be closer then as well. And just like all of the folks that were the MVC2 people at that time. Yeah. I got to have a really good relationship with, so like if you go back to that Evo moment when Daigo parries Justin, right?
The
like,
famous, yeah.
I'm sitting with Flash G at that time. Like normally, you know, you're at Evo, the finals, you're chilling with the people that you're like, that you play with, that you come from, right? So any other year, I'd probably be with the Baltimore people, but that particular year I had been in New York so much that I was with Flash G, the third strike aficionado, and I'm sitting next to him during the Daigo parry, and he's actually saying, don't do the super. He's actually saying it out loud. Don't do the super, don't do the super, don't do the super, and he does the super, and history happened.
Damn. So you were actually at that moment. That's got to, I mean, what was after that happens, right? We know the video and like obviously the pop off and stuff, but like, was that like just the talk of the fucking night? I mean, it has to be the talk of the fucking weekend, right?
Yeah, it's, you know how it is with fighting games. There's always somebody that's like, ready to diminish your accomplishment. So while a lot of people were like, damn, that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen, that me as well, I was not a third strike player at the time, so I was like, that's ridiculous. But the third strike players were like, that's like regular shit, like you're supposed to do that. But I mean, the jump at the end for the full combo for the death, that's the icing. And I think like even if you can do the parry, the presence of mind to hit that at that time, it's, you know, that's everything. But the way that it was received was, it was really like oddly split. You know, there's everybody that wasn't really a hardcore third strike player was like, this is ridiculous. But the hardcore third strike players are just like, man, we could do that.
Yeah, haters, obviously. Yeah, they are a thing. I want to ask you about, I've always seen, we've covered a lot of SRK threads, and they start with there's like a tournament announcement post, and then they kind of go down the line of like, you know, who's gonna come, what kind of what are the fucking you know, the games you're gonna play and all that kind of stuff. Can you go to the vibe about back then? Was it normal to start a tournament yourself, or was it kind of a certain set of people that were like, okay, we are the tournament organizers, or was it kind of anyone can do it and it was a small kind of thing? Because it's hard for me to tell as we go back, like, well, are these tournaments big deals, or were they all kind of, they're smaller ones or bigger ones, they're all different sizes, like back then, you know?
So yeah, you could, it wasn't really uncommon to just throw your own tournament. You could do that, just throw it up on the forums. Yeah. And like there was not really another place to go to for the tournament announcement, so anybody that was interested in a tournament is probably going to see it if you put it in the right spot. It was sure you can, or you know, maybe Tekken's Zaibatsu, you would cross post it if you're having Tekken or whatever. Yeah. But those that was like a fine place to do it. You just may or may not have people come. You know, if they know who you are, they're more likely to come. If you have that people are going to be coming, they're more likely to come. If you have like a prize pool or whatever, some prizes, something like that, then they're more likely to come. But you just kind of look at the tournament thread like that was one of the regulars, so you kind of get acquainted with it.
Okay. I guess another thing I gotta ask is, how did you kind of make the jump to being commentator? Because you are one of the first fucking commentators that ever did it, and at least definitely one of the first people that's kind of known as being commentator. So what made you try to make that jump from being player to maybe I better serve to be a commentator?
I just wanted to do it so bad. Like since the first time I went to Evo, I was like, damn, I want to be on that mic, you know. And part of it is always like, you think you could do it better. Like shout outs to Trag, I don't want to be like, oh, you know, I was looking at him and thinking he was bad or anything like that. But it's just like the fire in me was like, yo, like I think I could contribute to this. I think I could do something here. I really want to do this. So like, just really watching pro wrestling as a kid. And having like my favorite commentators from there, you know, I was always about Mike Tenay, the professor. I was like, damn, like I want to be like the professor of this. But the way that I finally got an opportunity, there was two things that happened. First was, I think, during like a CVS 2 Top 8, this guy, Magistros, the guy that's did the old, what is it, the SonicHurricane.net, the old footsies guides and all of that stuff, right? He had the microphone for CVS 2, but he's kind of soft-spoken, and he just handed it to me, and I took it, and that was also the first year that my voice was real raspy from just like screaming at people, which happened a lot for the next few years. But I was like, I'm not going to turn down this. Give me that, right? And like that was the first time. Yeah. And I think next year they let Keats be the person that was the like coordinator for those types of things. And he and I had already like had a relationship, I think, from the podcast by that time, and also I had done it, and I had been somebody that was podcasting and talking about games, so I was kind of like a natural person to slot in for those first few, just because I was like already in the space and had sort of proven myself, as well as doing the Alphaism, the radio broadcast stuff. I'm pretty sure I was doing that before the Evo stuff started.
Okay.
So I was just like, it was just something that I wanted to do, and I was gonna try to find a way to do it, and I happened to fall into them.
That's awesome, and I got to talk about Alphaism here because Alphaism is a fucking incredible look into really just a passion of fucking people. And I think it's so cool. And obviously, there's some raw parts that probably now, if you go back, it's probably a bit cringe for you. But
oh god, yeah.
But I mean, the passion is there, and Bunke is an incredible fucking host, man. Like he just is he's unwaverable, right? But he's just like gets us back on track. How did Alphaism start? Did you kind of join that later, or were you part of the start of the the genesis of it? How did Alphaism come to be?
I joined that later. Bunke just started doing it, right? Just like he was just a guy that loved Street Fighter, and his contribution was going to be like, I want to do this podcast, and he just was kind of doing it for like a few weeks. And I think that we knew each other from like the IRC and from the chat room, and I think he just contacted me and asked me if I wanted to co-host. I was like, hell yeah. Like, that sounds awesome. And I think he also knew that I would be somebody that could kind of like bridge the gap in terms of like the top players, right? Like, he wouldn't necessarily have excelled at interviewing like Valle or whatever, right? Like he brings something, but like he didn't have that like in-depth knowledge like I did, so it was kind of like a counterbalance to him. But like you said, he was very, very good host, and just the driving force. You need somebody that's gonna actually push y'all to do it and make it happen, right? And for Alphaism, I was more of like just like a talent, right? Like I didn't do a lot of the organizational stuff, at least not at first. I think a little later on I got a little bit more into it.
Yeah. It was just, it's so, and I want to know, like, was it, I'm not saying it was like some fucking huge thing. Like, I'm sure there wasn't thousands of people, but was it like, would you have it on YouTube? Like, how could people even listen to it live back then when it was coming out?
Oh my God, how could,
like, like what was how did you even go about, like, I want to listen to this show live. What was the avenue at that point? Because there's not like YouTube live,
Nah, it was Shoutcast. So like that's the old protocol for, I think you could do it on TV. I think you could do a video as well. Like that's one of the oldest ways that people streamed their games. Yeah. Shoutcast TV, I believe, or whatever. And we were just doing like an audio version of it. So it was like a Winamp plugin that you would use. And then I think if you wanted to listen, you also had to load it in Winamp or something like that, or maybe you could use a different player or something. But it was like that. It was something that you had to use another program and like dig into. Damn. And I think that it might have been like it was like that for a long time. I don't know if we ever did a transition off of that while I was there. Yeah, but that was what it was.
Damn. So like it wasn't like a huge, like it couldn't have been hundreds of people listening at the time, right? Like how many, was it a smallish thing, or did it kind of everyone know like, okay, there's a show tonight and I listen or I won't? But how did it work then?
Yeah. It probably, if we would get up to a couple of hundred people, then it would have been like during Evo specifically, right? And that was when people were coming in to the chat rooms and there was no other like live, it was only text otherwise, right? Yeah, okay. I would call in, and you would call in and do this through Skype. You would have a guest in. So I would call Ben and be trying to do like live commentary. And it worked really well sometimes, but also the quality was, it was imperceptible for a lot of us. So sometimes it wasn't great quality, but people liked it because that was really all we had at the time. So it was your best live look in for a little while before things started to take off in the streaming world.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at those SRK forums, like people are so fucking hungry for that news from Evo. Like, all right, this dude, this dude, like it was like it's fucking a real big deal back then for people. Like, who beat who, and oh shit, Justin Wong lost his round 4 or whatever matchup. It was a big fucking deal, and I mean it's pretty cool how cool. I mean, that's what I've learned. Like, we didn't start this show to kind of be this FGC like history show. But like we became it because it's like there's so much stuff here that's interesting, and like the passion is there from so fucking long ago. It's really cool to see, and obviously you're a big part of that. and how you kept in that Alphaism radio. There's so much stuff back then. It was just like people were doing what they fucking loved. It wasn't even about money at all. It was just people doing what they fucking wanted to do. And everyone's losing money, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like you
there's
got to get to tournaments.
There's not a dollar to be gained.
Yeah, you know, and like it's just crazy. It's really cool. It's really fucking cool. There's obviously we're gonna go through a lot of stuff, and I got some stuff queued up here to play with you to get your thoughts on. People will riot if I don't play a little bit of this one Alphaism show. It was SKISONIC. Obviously, that is the gentleman with us tonight. We have Raishin Ken. Am I saying that correctly? Raishin Ken. If I said that name, will you recognize that? Raishin Ken.
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, we have NFC Jesse. We have Angela.
Oh yeah.
We have Smooth Cat, Skeletor G, and Kzo, and of course Bunkcase here as well. And this is a favor. I don't have to play the whole fucking thing, of course. It's 6 hours long, but I just want to get your take on this story here because this is where a little piece of lore we have on the show that's called the Snitchinator was born.
Okay.
So I want to play this little clip for it's about a minute or so. Bunky's going to kind of set the stage about what you're talking about this show, and I want to get your take on this. So you should be able to hear this. Please let me know if you can. I'm going to play it right now.
You know what? That what bothers
Bunkay right
me
here.
because you know what? One of the things that I have noticed since I known you, and which is really since only Alphaism Radio. I mean, I never really talked to you.
Talking about
very
DSP
much
right
before
now.
then. The one thing about you that stands out the most, if you ask me, what's the one thing about DXP that you say that you just have a hard time dealing with, is that you never like to admit when you're in the wrong. I have so many instances where you were actually in the wrong for something, and believe me, it was like pulling teeth.
Did I not admit that I was wrong?
Okay, so I'll stop right there. When you hear that, what do you think to that phrase about the thoughts of DSP at this time in 2007, by the way? Was this, what did you, let's just start with that. What were your thoughts on DSP in 2007? He was on the fucking show a whole hell of a lot, I'll tell you that, but.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, he was more acceptable then than he is now.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, you know, because back then, he was another competitor that just kind of, like, rubbed people the wrong way for whatever reasons.
Yes.
Like intentionally so. You know, he made, the thing that sticks out is he made, tophaters.com, right? I don't know if you guys have seen that or aware of that, right?
Please, there's not much you can slip past us. Yeah, we know that.
So, are you aware that there was also a site called topplayers.com? And like his site was a knockoff of that. It was just basically a middle finger to Top Players, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Which is nonsense. But,
80 likes,
you know, he thought it was cool or
21 hit
whatever.
100, that's the goal for the night.
Oh, he wasn't like an especially skilled player. He was like another dude from CT that, like, I think around this time, you know, he started to be more in IRC and just more annoying, and he was like a sort of a contrarian that, like Ben was saying, like, can't admit he's wrong, and that's still to this day one of my pet peeves. Just take the L. That's how I feel.
For sure. But he was on SRK. He was on that show a lot, and I always theorized, was this because he gives you the content to talk about, or was it because Bunkay's a nice guy that can't say no? Like, what would you say to that? Because he's on that fucking show more than anybody.
I think it's probably both. Just because, like, it wasn't really... There's, like, you didn't really have a problem talking to him. And, you know, it's really... The scene is still very small at that time. Yeah. Very insular, so... It's still just, like, another one of the homies. But you know how there's always, like, a homie that you don't really like? That's not really... You know, it's like somebody in the crew that people are just like, you know... You know, it was like that, you know, and having him on the show, I doubt that was my decision when he was, but, like, you know, around that time it would have been, like, collaborative. Okay. But, you know, him coming on the show, it would always give us something to talk about, you know, or something to talk to.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's for fucking sure.
Wasn't a big deal.
I got to play this clip because I need you to ID the person that said this iconic line that we'll never forget here on this show. Here, who said this following?
Said TJ sucks,
not this
nigga.
one.
I'm telling on your ass, motherfucker, and I don't even got no alcohol, nigga. What you gonna do?
Right here, coming up.
What you
it's
gonna
a classic.
do?
The Snitchinator.
I mean,
right here.
Operated by Jack Daniels.
Who said Snitchinator operated by Jack Daniels? We need to know.
List the names of people, because I think it was it must have been like Raishin.
Raishin Ken, NFC Jesse, Angela. We know it's not Angela. Smooth Cat, Skeletor G, and Kzo. That was the choices, and also you, of course, but that's not you. So I'll play
Spell Kzo?
KZ08. Sorry, 0. KZOH, yes.
I think it was Raishin Ken, but
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
So I would like to know, though, this is done to test your memory. If you don't remember, well, it's totally cool. But what was, you guys in this episode make fun of DSP a lot about his dealings with women. Do you remember any thoughts about, remember anything about his dealings with women or how he was with that? Because you guys ragged on him endlessly about that in this episode. It's incredible.
I feel like he said something or did something awkward with like a fighting game community woman or
likes on the
something.
stream where
Yes. If I said some names, the name Faye, would you recognize that name? Faye?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Cool. Faye is a hero around these parts, a queen. So what can you tell us about Faye, SKISONIC?
I mean, Faye was really nice. She was a great friend of mine for a little while there. She was a New York City person, right?
Yes.
So Chinatown Fair, I hung out around there a little bit. She would come on IRC, and she was like a person that was very like familiar with forums and stuff like that. So her hanging out in the IRC she fit in very naturally.
Okay.
We even dated a while. Like, I can say that. Like, this is 20 years ago.
In the house, SKISONIC, you just became a king to our queen. There we go. What a legend.
I didn't know if people knew that, but I mean, I didn't know if like you were subtly asking me that.
No. Please, yeah. But that's hype. That's very hype.
It was really, yeah. So it was great. Like, we dated for summer. That was cool. Things
very
ended.
hype.
That was cool. So yeah, like we used to talk a lot, spend a lot of time together, and she was just a fucking down-ass fighting game girl. Really,
Okay.
is like the best thing I could say about her.
Awesome. The next thing that's person I have to ask about is someone named Taco Chan, and she was a West Coaster that had some dealings with DSP. Do you remember anything about that? We did actually talk to Taco Chan on this show, actually.
Oh, really? Jeanette, right?
Yes, Jeanette. No
Yeah,
docs, but yes, Jeanette.
She was basically like the attractive girl of the community at the time.
Okay, very nice.
So like, he probably did some weird crushing on her, but I think if you were to ask him, he would probably say like, no, that was just projected on me or something, and that might be fair. I can't remember exactly what happened, but it's one of those types of things where if you say the wrong thing to a pretty girl, people are gonna jump on you anyway. They'll just start, they'll jump down your throat. But he probably had some weird interaction with her just because he didn't really like. He's not great with people. That's all.
that's it. You say it enough there. Yeah. Actually, I excuse me. We didn't talk to her on the show, guys. We talked to her on DMs. She did talk to me on DMs, not on the show yet. Taco J was not interested to come on the show, but she did share the story. So thanks so much for that. So in this episode, though, you call him Snitchinator. I would like to know, do you remember anything that DSP snitched about? Because we have the picture here that he was called Snitch, and we found.
Why did I call him a snitch all the time? I don't remember why. But I was like real mad about it.
yeah. Everyone's pissed. Yeah, but
everyone did it.
Yeah. It was a snitch. I think it was about a thread, something about a thread that he wanted to get someone banned from IRC, from the fucking SRK, but it didn't happen.
Oh, that sounds right.
Yeah,
that would definitely be right.
Okay. Just a small thing though, but DSP is a snitch, and that was the Snitchinator was born then. My next trip down memory lane, I'm going to take you to Winter Brawl 5, if you don't mind. Right. And this is from 2011. I do want to show you your first appearance in this little intro package here, and it's very heavily features our boy SKISONIC here. So let's see. I want to know why this was put in. So, because some people might say it's because some gentleman on the right was looking very strange while you were just talking normally, or were you saying some real deep shit here? Because here we go.
Viewers right now.
Not yet.
Really,
right here.
Really early on in the life of the game, everybody's kind of making these preemptive jumps. If you will, thinking their opinion is way more valid than it is, because it's not. You don't know because you just started playing the game. You suck.
So you're pretty fired up here. Is that because? Is that why we're showing this clip, or was it because DSP is looking like an alien on the right side? I wasn't sure.
Is that actually DSP?
Yes, it is. It's on the right.
Wow, he does not look good.
So I wanted to ask you, are you saying some like cool shit here? That's why they have it up, or what? Like I'm not sure. I think I don't know why this was included if you're not saying some like legendary commentary right now, but it doesn't sound like you are.
I'm the fucking man.
Oh, okay. They want to make sure SKISONIC's here. SKISONIC was here, motherfuckers. That makes sense then.
The thing that I remember for this tournament, I don't know if you've seen the clip where I tell them like to stop talking over me.
We got it queued up, my friend. Don't worry.
All right. Okay. So I won't jump ahead.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. We got it queued. Also, there's a fight here apparently.
Yes.
We had a crazy
This
fight
is
about
great.
5 minutes ago.
So there was a fight.
Some crazy
It happened
bullshit
at this
going
Winter
action.
Brawl 5.
Some weave was torn out of some heads.
Yep.
It's 3 a.m. Everyone's trying to sleep, and everyone's not awake. No one's sleeping tonight. Let's face it.
Yeah.
So was that from people in the tournament, or was it not associated? It says on
Man,
the
those
video.
are just some random women. I'm pretty sure some random Philadelphia ladies.
Okay.
But that hotel, man, is legendary because you see how it's set up, where the rooms are all in kind of like a circle, so you can just step out and you can see all of what's going on. So it was just like some Thunderdome shit or something where everybody's just like, I get her. It was wild. That's one of the like most memorable nights of fighting game tournaments for me, because it's like like the guy said, the weave was ripped off. We went and got the weave later on, or like waving the weave around. Like, yeah,
Damn.
it was nuts. It was nuts.
Awesome. So yeah, obviously I do have to play a very famous clip around here. So let's get it loaded up here. This is SKISONIC and DSP on commentary. And we're gonna play it now. Not here. Right here.
Tricky trick there.
Cross up the Wolverine!
Teleported immediately as he activated X Factor, and the flash is what cut Justin off guard.
Goes for another cross up. This would be giant damage on the Kuma.
Justin Wong trying to
You can
spend
see
a little
I'm
bit of
already
time on
getting
that
mad.
X Factor meter.
Yep.
Now he's got a clean shot at Phoenix. If he can hit her once, she is done.
Oh, her health is depleting. She's going red.
He's gonna look for a random beam super any moment.
Here we go. Oh!
This is the long
Phoenix
version.
almost
Hold on.
done.
Thrown too far for the combo for the air grab, and there's Justin with a random super.
Nice tag into Dante right there.
Got some damage on Dante rather than Phoenix, but now Justin still.
Oh, here
sacrificed
comes
Dark
Phoenix.
Good snap right there. Butters Dark Phoenix when she lost a lot of red.
Oh my god, so much damage.
Yeah, we're almost there.
That's it, Justin has no health. That's it. Yeah! Yeah!
That was SKISONIC current year doing that. Yeah. Oh, let's hear the line right here. We got to hear it.
You gotta stop talking over me. You gotta listen to me because I'm not talking over you. Don't talk over me.
Okay.
I'm serious. Because like, it sounds horrible.
Okay. So we got it. I mean, obviously, okay, I am not nowhere close to SKISONIC level of commentator, but I commentator myself, commentated stuff at TwitchCon once, and I know when you're dealing with someone that doesn't understand the dance that commentators have to do, where it goes back and forth and everyone has a job, it's extremely frustrating. So I get it. But can you please tell us about that moment and what led to you saying that at that point?
Yeah, like I'm one of the few serious commentators in fighting games at this time, and I had these experiences in the past where, you know, people come at me or whoever for talking over people, but like not taking it personally, but like listening back to the tape, you know, it doesn't sound good. And like it had been a thing, you know, it's like that match, you could kind of feel it bubbling over, like I was saying, but it wasn't really like the first time, you know? And I was just concerned for the broadcast. And I think DSP was like, you know, sort of popular at the time. So they just like threw him on commentary. And I could say now in retrospect that like a couple of those times it's okay, but like it's just there's no modulation and it's like he's not listening, right?
Yes.
Like the things that he's saying, some of them are fine, right? But like just like the dance is like you said, you know, like work with me here instead of like me having to like try to work around you. And I don't know, I thought I was real nice about it, but I was trying to like get the point across real quick while we had time. Like, yo, like let's just like get this right. And I think after that he really clammed up and like of course like fucking said that I like fucking spit down his throat about it or something, because every time anything ever happens with anybody, he fucking turns it into you know, 1,000,000% of what it was. But that's basically what it was. It's just like, man, like I don't want this to sound bad, and I know that this is gonna sound bad. So like, can we please get this under wraps?
Yeah. So, and I want to say like, this is 2011 when it happened. And I believe this is when DSP is starting to get popular because of his Street Fighter videos only at this point, just posting Street Fighter videos. And in combination with the fact that, okay, there's this thing called 09ers, right? And if I say, I know you know what that means, but just so people that are not clear of that, 09ers are new players that joined the Street Fighter scene in 2009, correct?
Yep, because of Street Fighter 4 explosion.
So for me, I think this is when DSP blew up, but he didn't blow up with you guys, the guys that were there for a while. He blew up with those newer people, right? Is that fair to say? And then
Yeah. No, we already didn't like him, so.
Yeah, but so the 09ers though are like, okay, this guy's cool. He's posting videos more than anyone fucking else because he was. But you know, it wasn't like he. As you can see, I'm going to stop talking and just bring up some points that lead me to that conclusion. So this is the Winter Brawl 5 results thread. And I want to show a little bit, just a few posts here that are kind of interesting that have to do with that exact moment. Really nice job on the stream. Stream Spooky. That's Team Spooky. Still going now, by the way. Still going now. And he says, also, DSP is the lesser of two evils. It was a nice change of pace to get some different people on the stream for once. So not glowing review of DSP, but just saying like it was nice to have different people. And then Joe the Condor says, did anyone else hear SKISONIC and DSP argue over the fact that DSP didn't sound good on the mic? That's not cool. I thought DSP was great. And you know, there's a few back and forths about this, right? But pretty much everyone defending them is these newer people, right? And some people, you know, while this person says here, well, I'm not a fan of DSP YouTube page. I will agree that some of the unprofessional shit by Ski, which is just funny, because what are you supposed to do? And it's not like nowadays when you can just mute him out, right? And some people said, I agree with this man. When Phil did cutting him off, I honestly see why Ski got frustrated. He handled the situation totally wrong. It was extremely unprofessional. So someone believes that you should say sorry, but then people bring it up the right way. From what I can tell, Ski tried to say it off mic, which you did, by the way. I don't know, you probably don't remember exactly the moves you made, but you definitely went off the mic.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, to say it. And you can still hear it, of course, but...
Yep.
And DSP's commentary was, oh, here comes the Phoenix. Oh my God, so much damage. That's it. Justin, no help. That was pretty funny. Then we get a few people sticking up for DSP. This one is kind of funny, so it's a little interesting. How could you tell that you went over the mic? Because it wasn't as loud as him talking on the mic normally. Duh. And then, you know... And then this person says, real quick, I want to bring it up here. He says, I have it right here. 1921. This person says, I don't care either way. Oh, fuck, where is it? Hold on. 13. I'll get it. Hang on, guys. Hang on. I'm trying to go here. 21. Right here. Yeah, so either way, it seemed that Ski was trying to keep it off mic, but either lowering his voice or moving away from it. I don't see what your point is, man. I wish there was some recorded video of the exchange. Someone found the video. This person's trying to defend him, blah, blah, blah. This person, Snivy, ends up saying that I'm not a fan of DSP. Right? I don't even know who this DSP guy is before the stream, and he was supposed to be pretty successful to have such dedicated haters. So now if you say anything against DSP, you're a hater. This person right next finds that Snivy is subscribed to DSP, and, you know, leaves comments on his video. The link is dead now. But so it's just like, there's a weird fan base that's building for DSP at this time, right? It seems like it.
Makes sense.
Is that from, I imagine that's from the 09ers, but were you guys all, you know, just out of it with DSP? Did you guys watch his videos? I mean, I'm going to talk for you, SKISONIC yourself. Did you think there was anything good to have from DSP sharing it? Did you guys think
nobody's ever been interested in any of DarkSidePhil's content. Nobody. Nobody.
I mean,
I'm not joking. Like, to this day, I watch it sometimes. Like, okay, I've literally never watched it until like the last like couple of years when people link his like rage montages or whatever.
Yes.
And sometimes I watch those, and they're out of this world. This motherfucker thinks rollback netcode is bad. Have you seen this motherfucker?
That's on the docket as well. All
right, cool. Not gonna jump ahead again, but yeah. So no person that like was going to tournaments, right? The distinction between people at this time is like, do you travel to tournaments? Have you like gone, right? And now anybody everybody, the community is a little more inclusive. At that time, there wasn't even a term FGC. That only existed to delineate ourselves from esports, right? Like once there was a larger presence around us, then our scene got more of an identity in that way. But regular like fighting game goer, like tournament goers, had absolutely no interest in him because they already knew who he was. They knew that like he wasn't good. This is probably after he did the fourth place at Evo for Arcade Edition. So like that was another part of it where he was tongue-in-cheek, let's say, saying like the best American placer in Super Turbo in Evo in the year 2007 or whatever, right? But it was like nobody took that game seriously whatsoever. He was just playing Vega and, you know, doing the Yule Ball shit. So like that was his best claim to fame at that point. I think prior to that, I don't know if he had one, but he kind of used that and parlayed it into being like a popular Street Fighter figure, but only to people that didn't know what all that meant.
Okay, thank you for that. That's what I was theorizing, because it seems like he never, all these shit we show from these these threads, he never gets support from you guys and other people like you, where like it could be NKI, it could be thinking of the Jaguar, FC Jaguar, or you know, these people, FM Jaguar, excuse me, like
FM Jaguar.
Like, you know, it's all these people that have well thought out points, but they're never on DSP's side. But then when you do find someone on DSP's side, they're new to the scene, and it's gonna was something I was wondering about. So thanks for that. You did mention though the Cannon brothers nonsense, so I want to first get your take on
thanks for the
rollback netcode from DSP in 2020. Okay, so we're gonna hear real quick DSP talk about rollback netcode in 2020 just to get us started on this concept. Okay, so here it's a little minute later.
An example personally that happened to me. There was a time in the 2000s when the Cannon brothers, at this point I believe it was Tom Cannon, who was the coder of the brothers. He was the one who was writing GGPO netcode. Okay,
so I'll stop right there. GGPO netcode, when it came out, was like insanely awesome for you guys, right?
It was fucking amazing. It was revolutionary. It was one of the best things that has ever happened.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that's clear. Okay, so remember that, guys. SKISONIC says, and everyone else in the fucking threads I'm going to show you thought it was awesome. Let's hear DSP's take.
He was pushing this heavily on the internet. People were able to use it for free to play games over the internet.
Pushing this heavily on the internet. So like making,
I don't know what that means.
making people use it. Fuck.
What does that even mean?
Come on, Tom. Don't do that. Yeah, right.
No.
Okay.
On their PC. You know, emulated versions of these games. And he was trying to basically perfect this netcode so he could sell it to game companies.
All right, I'm going to stop right there for some confirmation. I've been told that, of course, afterwards, the Cannon brothers might have been compensated for that, but at the beginning, it was totally open source, and they didn't get it. Did they get any paid for that at all?
No. There was no payment, but I mean, I won't say that he's like technically wrong in what he was saying, and the goal was to sell it, but this is the corrosiveness of people that speak in fucking vagaries, right? Yes. Of course he wanted to sell it, because he wanted to improve fighting game netcode for everybody that fucking play fighting games online. That's why, right?
Yeah.
You can't just give it to a company. The company doesn't. That's not how shit works. Like a company's not going to take you seriously, right? But realistically, he sold this at a very low cost. He wasn't trying to sell this to make money. Like, to be 100% clear, his goal was to sell it to improve this, and he was like always going to work with any like licensing people to like give them a reasonable cost, which is why eventually when you did start to see GGPO in games, you've seen it in games like from I think the first professional game was Dragon Ball Xenoverse, was like a Namco arcade Japanese game, but you would see it on like even the smallest indie project, right? Because they are willing to negotiate that to just get you the netcode for your game. So that's really like what that statement means. But you know, when you just say it like that, he's kind of like building this narrative to support his fucking bullshit, like this doesn't work ideology or whatever he's gonna say.
Yes, let's go.
He wanted to sell it to Capcom. He wanted to sell it to Bandai Namco. He wanted to sell it to all the fighting game companies and basically make tons of money because he felt his netcode was the best. What they did is
So that's another thing. He felt his netcode was the best. I'm going to show you some threads, guys. Everyone thought his netcodes were the best, but let's keep going.
Set up on Shoryuken.com a giant section of information where people would relay their experiences with GGPO, and they encouraged people to go there and tell their experiences about GGPO netcode. 99%
I have that thread. We'll get there. Hold on.
of the people who posted positive things. And I said, how could this be possible? No one had a bad experience with this netcode. So I played it, and I was like, wait a minute, there's big problems with this netcode. The rollback is bad. There's a lot of dropped inputs, right? Now you're thinking, oh, this is what they want. They want positive feedback, right? They want real concrete positive
So real quick, I guess we would remember his gripes with it were rollback, I think, was one. Let me hear again.
He just said the rollbacks are bad, and there were a lot of dropped inputs.
Okay, thank you.
So I played it, and I was like, wait a minute, there's big problems with this netcode. The rollback is bad. There's a lot of dropped inputs, right? Now you're thinking, oh, this is what they want. They want positive feedback, right? They want real concrete positive feedback. All right,
speeding him up a little bit.
So I posted feedback that was constructive. I said, there's some really good things about this netcode because it doesn't play in slow-mo like other netcode. Other netcode at the time, if you tried to play a fighting game online, it would be like molasses. You're playing underwater with lag.
Yeah,
with GGPO, it would always seem to run at the right speed, but there was the rollback netcode where something would happen, it would skip backwards. And then also there was a lot of dropped inputs. You would do a move and nothing would happen, or the input wouldn't come out at all. I posted that, they deleted
Okay, so I'm not asking you to be an expert on rollback netcode, even though you might be. That is fundamentally not what rollback netcode is supposed to do, right? Doesn't drop inputs, correct?
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah, the whole point of it is to not drop inputs and to, guess your input. When it sees you did something different, show that on the screen instead of what it was showing before, which was its best guess, which was your last input, correct?
I don't think it does that, but that's something that a lot of people have thought that it does, and I've tried to that's specifically the anticipation of what you're doing. I don't want to speak out of my turn technically on that.
Yeah.
It may or may not do that, but I think I think it's basically just holding your last input rather than trying to anticipate.
Yeah.
But I know that there's been a lot of improvements on GGPO since then, so that might be one of the features.
Okay, yeah. Because now, DSP will tell you that it guesses at your input by basically rolling a dice and then just saying, oh, you didn't do that, oops, and then it does whatever you want. So
that's
let's
fucking ridiculous.
Well,
stupid.
Let's get another take of now we're gonna move forward a year and get another take on rollback netcode, which I think is worth it. Big ups, by the way, to On Paper and Down 4 Punch. You guys are fucking legends, but let's go.
Or actual visible jumping around of the graphics.
Okay, so here we go.
Dropping your input.
This is the bad parts.
Strongly recommend you check them out because that was a lot of fun. Learning those characters, some cool combos, strategies. It was really fun. But at the same time, I'll be honest, I was frustrated with the fucking netcode because the game drops a ton of frames. Whether it's dropping your inputs so your moves just don't come out, or dropping your block input so you stop blocking out of nowhere, or actual visible jumping around of the graphics because the netcode is called rollback netcode, which is
so rollback netcode. Here we go.
Supposed to avoid showing the game slow down and look laggy. Instead, it jumps around everywhere, which is just as bad. So
what do you think about that statement? It jumps around everywhere.
I mean, maybe his computer was fucking garbage or something, right? It is more taxing on your computer, but it's just obvious that, people didn't have this experience. Nobody has this experience. Of course, rollback is by definition, right? You know what it is, but when you play it, it makes perfect sense, and it doesn't disrupt what you're doing unless it's, real bad, unless you have a bad connection, a bad computer, whatever, right? Because it does what it's doing is it's running multiple copies of the game.
Yeah.
So it is more intensive on your computer. But I mean, when those first proof of concept betas came out, because that's what it was, he had us as people playing it as a proof of concept so he could later market it or whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody had amazing experiences, right? Those first nights of Super Turbo and Vampire Savior, those are fucking legendary, man. Legendary.
That's awesome. I mean, that's what thanks for clearing that up. Let's hear a little bit more, and then I'll get to the thread
better than
here.
Any other online fighting game that I've ever played before. It's just as laggy as the others. It's just a different kind of lag, a different kind of issue.
Oh my god.
And it pisses me off because I'm playing the game. Every time I've played Street Fighter V now, I've enjoyed it because I'm like, wow, I like the fundamentals of this game. I'm getting into it. I'm learning more about it. This is a fun game. And then I play it online and wow, well, so I'm just getting destroyed because I can't tell what's hitting me because it's skipping frames of animation. I swear I was blocking it. I get hit by that super randomly, and is it a throw? I don't know. It's frustrating. So it's a combination of enjoyment and frustration.
Okay, let's go to that. We got he's blaming Rollback netcode for jumping around so much he can't tell what he's blocking. All this nonsense. So there we go. Sound good. Here, I think there's one more. This is super fast.
It went back. It went forward. I call it the YouTube rollback.
Here we go.
It's
Yeah,
kind of like rollback netcode. You know netcode when you play fighting games, you're playing and you hit a guy, you do a combo, then all of a sudden the netcode says, "Oh no, that was false." Takes the whole combo back, and the guy gets all his energy back.
That never fucking happens.
That's what I wanted to show you.
That never happens. Dog, like, what is he playing on? He would have to be playing on a fucking potato.
He's
right?
playing on console. That's all he plays on his consoles.
Then he's lying. And you know he's lying because you can watch him stream and you can see it. That's why his fan base is people that are not good. Because it's obvious when you watch him complain about things that none of it makes sense. It's very clear.
Thank you.
That code says, "Oh no, that was false." Takes the whole combo back, and the guy gets all his energy back. That's what I feel like it is on YouTube. You work.
All right, we're not here about YouTube. All right, so let's get rid of that one. Last one here.
These instances in the past 2 days. In one case, I was playing this guy who was doing constant rushdown. No surprise there. That's the entirety of the game. And as he's doing constant rushdown, half of the frames of animation of his attacks aren't even coming out. It's just showing a neutral animation for the attacker. Yet you can see those effects from hits going out on the screen. So literally no attack animations, but the hits are counting anyway. Now, the other flip side of this, the bad one, is if I dashed up, I did low Thanos, which is a
fuck it, let's skip that one. Anyways, let's get to, so I want to show that this exact thread he was talking about. A lot of people wanted to see this thread because this is the thread that he said, you heard him say how there was a thread they set up and, everyone's saying positive stuff, but when I said negative stuff, it was bad. So I just wanted to get that out here so we can see exactly what he's talking about. Yeah, so this one is someone has just to start it out. Someone said DSP and company. This is what this guy's saying. That's what I thought. Just DSP and company fucking up the motions and blaming it on the game. Sorry about that one. So this is already someone saying it's just Phil being not a good player. That's what his complaints are. Let's get to one more. So this is DSP's first time, okay? So this is the first mention of rollback. We're talking July of 2008. He says, this is the first game where I've ever heard the term rollback, as in the game takes back things happening on your screen. I'm sorry, but that just makes zero sense to me, and I think now we're seeing why he hates rollback netcode so much, because he can't understand it. But let's keep going. If a game is running in slow-mo, at least I expect the game to be worthless and mean nothing. But to have things going backwards in time while I perform moves, bullshit. So he thinks things are going backwards in time. Let's keep going. You know I'm the resident hater, but I'm trying to be honest. This ridiculous slowdown at least made me accept how shitty the net play on AE was. This game has great netcode for the most part, then fools you into thinking you have great game with anyone. Then it becomes a terrible Back to the Future remake, and you wish you never played at all. Your thoughts, SKISONIC, on that statement? It's like playing a terrible Back to the Future remake.
I mean, look, man, it's just like, I feel like his experience, maybe he just has the worst internet. Maybe he was playing on Wi-Fi, or more than likely he's just fucking overreacting to everything and just finding something to complain about. You see players of this ilk all the time, all over the place, just find something to blame whatever they're upset about on, and they just roll with it. And he has nobody there that's critical, or nobody there that he listens to, nobody there that he respects, whatever, to tell him, like, dog, you're fucking wrong, right? And that's the reason why he's never been any good at fighting games, probably because he's like not willing to lower himself and take constructive criticism and realize that like you can grow that way. And so it's just fucking par for the course, you know. He's still saying this shit about Street Fighter 6 to this day, like he can't do a damn Blanca ball, and he's like, the game ate my inputs. It's like, no, it didn't. It didn't. We all know this. So yeah, it's any person that's like a real fighting game person, any person that's traveled to a tournament or whatever. You look at 10 minutes of his videos and you can't help but like laugh.
Yeah. So okay. So that when those videos came out, in the beginning, right? 2009 is everyone was hungry for fucking videos, right? Like it was like a very, very hungry market to watch video of your favorite game being played because this is before YouTube was popping off like it is now and you could see everybody play. This was way before that, right? Like in 2009 videos, you know?
What were we watching videos on? I feel like just this, I think the scene just hadn't really been developed yet. You know, like people didn't have capture cards. There were like 3 years where people would just, you know, AverMedia. Remember AverMedia Gamer B, right? So that was the influx of like capture cards and things to the scene.
Yeah.
So there were people that did videos, but it was mainly just them, right? Like it wasn't like anybody is able to just like upload their footage like it is now. So I would say like that's the main difference. So anybody who was dedicated and like putting up videos, you could certainly find an audience.
Okay. So that we get there. I want to get a few responses here because obviously Bruce LB says, "Man, what the fuck are you talking about? The first game you've ever seen it? Seriously? Did you ever never play Diablo 2, Counter-Strike, or any other game online? Because it is every other game lags up shit, goes back in time. It's just the way netcode works. Fighting games have been late using this type of netcode for whatever reason, but overall, even the rollback is much better. Everyone agrees with everyone agrees it's awesome. We can say. Everyone fucking thinks it's awesome. So I want to make that clear that like it's just he is literally the only person that has a problem with it. DSP chimes in here, says responds to that person. I said, "Are you retarded? We're talking about fighting games, not old PC games. FPS games have been doing rollback for ages." Blah, 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 blah. I personally dislike rollback because it cheats good players.
I mean, there's not a good player that says that, right? Like every good player says literally the opposite. Every good player wants to play on rollback. So what does that say?
Real quick, let's explain it. Let's see his explanation for why it cheats good players. You could do a perfect reversal, see it hit on the screen, then 1 second later be down 50% life for no apparent reason. All the while, it's unbeknownst to you until it happens.
Yeah, like I said, he will exaggerate something to the millionth percent when he doesn't like it. So, I mean, yeah, like, 1 second later, what the fuck happened, right? Like,
yep.
It's never that drastic, and if it is, something's wrong, right? Like, you're playing with large rollback because you're playing somebody that's either too far, you're playing with real bad internet, or whatever.
Yeah. So GGPO takes the same netcode, which is why everyone else is applauding it. I was just like, give me a break. How come people take GGPO seriously when every time there's a clutch situation, the inputs drop and you can't get that reversal super combo that is needed?
See, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It preserves your inputs. The opposite.
Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. Still, we seem a long ways off from perfecting net play for fighting games. So I know it's been improved by now, but guys, just a spoiler, rollback netcode is still used in 2023, but Phil said we're a long ways off, and we're still using the base of the same system that he's bitching about right now in 2008. Real quick, a few more things here. The clapback to DSP from Fallout says, if you perform a perfect reversal, any rollback will be in your favor, just like SKISONIC said. It doesn't warp back in time as much as it compensates for what happens on both sides. Rollback is far superior to input delay. Play a while on GGPO. It demonstrates it excellently. And it is pretty funny. People say GGPO doesn't drop inputs. Dipshit. That's directed at Phil. Seriously, DSP, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Go away.
Bro, you gotta link me this thread. I need this in my life.
So Hanaki says, DSP, because you're a big baby, here's how rollback actually works. Zangief does see. I'm gonna need you.
Is that Hanaki?
That's Hanaki. Yep.
Hanaki is a game dev.
So
he is a game developer.
Who do you want to believe, guys? A game developer or, anything that happened pre-rollback is on the assumption that happened 2 frames ago. If your opponent was holding the same buttons he was, post-rollback is what actually happened. Every input is recorded unless there is actual lag. And that was from 198. We're going to keep going on here. We have a clapback. Lazy Foo says, are you retarded was the question from Darkside Phil. I wouldn't choose to use that word in 2023. I'm reading as I see him. But I know it's a different time then. Lazy Foo says, he's not. You can read into those italics all you want. The inputs aren't dropped as already explained. Correct. Saying rollback drops inputs is like complaining a super doesn't come out because you're being comboed. If you're expecting 100% perfect, lagless, latency-free fighting games with anyone on the planet, you better start rewriting the internet so everyone has Ethernet cable plugged into your house.
Facts.
Blah, blah, blah. Brilliant. Nothing to say there. It does not stop, but here comes DSP to D204. He says, you can't read. I wasn't talking about rollback when I was talking about GGPO. On GGPO, you can press buttons and have nothing come out repeatedly, especially when it's a clutch situation where you need that perfect timing to do a reversal. Nothing happens. Sorry, but I know how to do reversals.
Watch him today, and you'll see he doesn't still.
And yes, he is retarded. Thanks for clearing that up. And then, of course, when everyone doesn't respond favorably, what happens? Wow, you guys sure do love your GGPO. You swear that no inputs ever get dropped. Interesting. So why does everyone on GGPO say that it's just for practice, not serious? SKISONIC, what do you think that means?
Bro, like, it's fucking online. Nobody, like, what are you talking about? People say that it's not serious because it's online, especially in, what is this, 09 or whatever?
Yes.
Nobody took online play with any veracity. There were no real online tournaments like there are now. So, yeah, like, just, that's really, like, has always been a refrain of the FGC. It's just online and doesn't count. See me in real life.
Yeah. That's kind of a way, like, if you lose, it's like, if you lose online, you can say, like, I get you on the cabinet, that kind of thing,
yep.
right? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Count.
That makes sense, yeah. All right, so let's go to 208. Again, people responding, just like you said, GGPO doesn't drop inputs anymore. That has been fixed for quite a few versions. Seriously, stop embarrassing yourself with your uninformed bullshit. That was 208. I'm going to go to 211 here. Wow, you guys sure do love your GGPO. What does this person say, Sweet Johnny V? Yeah, it's great. Honestly, you're cheating yourself if you're only avoiding GGPO just because every once in a while there's a glitch. There's a lot of good times to be had on here. Audio CG says, DSP, seriously, man, online will most likely never be exactly the same as head-to-head. But we all want as good as it can get. Do you know why? I, for one, can only play because person supporting the rollback as well. Lazy Foo again. GGPO doesn't drop packets. It's UDP and the network itself. Blah, 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 blah. GGPO managed to allow fighting games to be playable at 100 ping. Counter-Strike players would kill that type of latency compensation. It's the best out there. Managed to do so without slowdown. Everyone, as you can see, guys, I'm about to show you the post, but everyone is in support of rollback netcode 100%.
Unanimously.
Yes, it's not even close. And as you can see, the more and this person responds here.
David.
He's not the retarded one here. I'm just reading it. Ultra David comes in, is talking about it as well. Let's go few more. 2018. So many threads here. This thread has 10,000 posts, so it's tough to navigate. This is a big one. Where am I at now? 185. Let's go down to 211 here. Sorry for the scrolling, everybody. We're trying to get to the gold. 218, 215, 218. I second that play. Where is it? Not that. 218. Well, I second that playing GGPO has been ridiculously awesome, especially with the staggering amount of utterly awesome players out there. I still can't believe I'm playing against the legendary old school pros that rock Evo year in and year out. Watch that games high fidelity, just pure unaltered awesomeness beyond my wildest dreams. This person really fucking likes it, dude. I mean, it's incredible.
That was everyone's experience, right? Like, it came out of nowhere. It was like the biggest gift to the FGC. Like, we're just freaking sitting there on IRC right now. I still talk to Ronaldo to this day, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Like, it was just like this tremendous gift. Like, Ronaldo's still playing GGPO, playing John Choi online, beating them in tournaments. That's what the freak GGPO does. But yeah, like, it's kind of a misnomer, right? Rollback, because there's no real rolling back. It's more of a correction.
Yeah.
And that sort of gives Phil the room to say, like, oh, it goes back in time. It's like, it actually is resolving what happened in the time, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't go back in time. It stays where it was, and it corrects what just happened. It was just like this just like utopian experience. I'm not lying. Like, it sounds like I'm overselling this, but to have, like, nobody was playing fighting games online at that time. I think it was just like, a couple of games, like CVS2 had it on Xbox, and shit like that.
Yeah.
But for this to come out, and it was just Super Turbo at first, but I didn't even like Super Turbo, and I became a Super Turbo player because freaking, it was just this perfect, it felt like you were playing offline. That's how good it was, even though you know, there's still the fact that you're playing online or whatever. But when you had a good connection, it felt great.
I don't want to say this person, King here says, seriously, stop embarrassing yourself with your uninformed bullshit. Someone says, it's pointless. Really, we've all tried.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's unanimous. Everybody knows DSP at this point.
So, this person says, blah, blah, blah. When, DSP comes back here. It says, when were these changes made? I've only played GGPO twice. So he's played it twice and was making those big fucking accusations, wasn't he?
Incredible.
He played it twice.
Incredible.
Mostly because it doesn't work with Vista properly. Still has massive issues. But I'd like to know if something was changed. I considered trying it on my laptop again if there was no input dropping. Everyone's saying it works fine in Vista for me. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's James Chan in the house here. I saw you did a podcast with him a few years ago. I found on YouTube. Very cool listen there. Go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. Get more SKISONIC action here. But there's no comment from Phil for a long time in this thread. We're going to go back to 479 here. And this is DSP makes his first post back after like a long time. He says more like they're talking about there was an advertisement or something online. He says, let's not even mention, they didn't mention Street Fighter in the advertisement. They talked about movies instead. Okay. Anyways, this is a great marketing idea. I really don't know what else to say. Maybe you want to talk about best efforts and maybe you're totally retarded. I rest my case. I'm not sure what he's talking about there, but that's his comeback into the thread. And that gets people into it. I'm not a fan of that press conference. DSP, your credibility goes down with every post you make. This is Inkblot.
That's
by the way.
Inkblot, son.
Yeah, that's Tony.
Big
Tony,
Daddy.
Is that Tony or Tom? I'm not sure which one.
It's Tom.
Okay, Tom. That's Tom. Okay, so he enters the scene, and everyone rep for truth. Wagi Gatame says that he had it to begin with, talking about DSP's credibility.
Yeah.
LOL, I got negative rep for this, DSP. Is that you, buddy? And yeah, because he got someone, you could put negative rep on comments, right? Posts back then.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Okay. So, people are not fans of this. Here we go to DSP's post 488. I don't know a single person who bought it. I have many non-Street Fighter friends who own 360s, and the reviews were lackluster. You're correct. 1.5 million is a good showing for a game that didn't have any type of fan base whatsoever beforehand. But at the same time, it certainly didn't compare with sales of any of the top games for the past 2 years. By no means would you call it a blockbuster. So why make a movie about it? Halo, this is Business Side Phil explaining why they shouldn't make a movie about Lost Planet.
Anyways. Business.
Yeah. He has a business degree, which he told you guys about even back then. Meanwhile, they had a room playable version of Mega Man 9 Street Fighter 4, but there's no mention of media for those games. And please keep talking out of your asses and following everything NKI says. It's pretty obvious he's become the Pied Piper of SRK.
That's fucking ridiculous statement.
Keep mindlessly following and see where it gets you. Unlike you, I actually play the games and speak from experience, not from a 2-minute video that NKI made. He's referencing a video we've talked about on this show. This is the NKI proved how the games, these two versions of games were almost exactly the same. People were bullshitting and saying, DSP was saying how different they are. NKI made a literal video backing that up. And Phil is pissed because, unlike speaking from experience, which is just Phil saying what he recognized, NKI made a fucking video about it, and DSP's clapping up back that. Inkblot says here, shame on you, SRK, for being swayed. This is the best. Shame on you, SRK, for being swayed by pesky facts and video evidence. You're 0 for 2 here, Phil. Care to make it a hat trick of fail? You can do it.
You got to respect the OGs because they are so restrained. Inkblot and Ponder especially, they always were just so classy about things.
Yes.
Not like me. I was not.
I've noticed though, your post, I've seen you a few times on the post. You didn't seem to me as someone that spent a lot of time on these. You would read a post, read a thread, make a post, and then get out overall. Is that how you kind of ran things? That's from my experience of reading your posts, I think, but.
I spent a lot of time on the forums, but I didn't spend a lot of time posting. When I posted, I felt like, I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna ether somebody, and then I'm gonna be done, right? I didn't want to get into a back and forth.
Okay, fair enough. So Inkblot did that nice clock back, and Crackbone says, by all means, post a video with evidence that contradicts what he found. Otherwise, you're just being a whiny bitch. But I guess you wouldn't want to deviate from what your best stat. Crackbone, cracking it down.
He's still correct. I mean, there's never any evidence.
So here we got another. The beatdown does not stop. We're in 2008. You made a bunch of baseless claims, and he went out of his way to categorically, he's talking about NKI here, disprove each and every one of them. Even in the face of blatant facts, you never admitted you were wrong. Remember that clip I played you earlier about Bunke, what he said? We're back there. All you ever did is come back with something else completely irrelevant that you thought you had discovered. Whenever someone mentions ST Pros and doesn't bring up your name, you get offended. You're a stubborn individual who thinks that running tournaments and placing highly in ST 1 year, that would be 4th at EVO, should get you a free pass to do anything. Despite the fact that you're the most vocal naysayer on this site, you always claim that top players agree with you, yet I haven't seen a single one of them post to support you. Why is that? I think more people would be inclined to listen to you when you stop lying. No one wants to wade through a amount of bullshit to find the one potential nugget of truth you may have stumbled across.
I mean, it's potentially like maybe, right? But yeah, I've been talking about this just recently with some people because, you know, one of the Street Fighter 6 videos came across my plate, and I wanted to see what his reaction was to GGPO when it came out. I was like, I wonder if he was hating it all the way fucking back then. At least he's consistent.
Oh yeah, and you know what it's about? I don't think it's about netcode at all. I think it's about a hatred of a certain brothers, and they are twins and they look alike. And he just has hated them since the beginning because they were the
That's
kings.
true.
Yeah, we'll play that video after this.
True.
We're gonna play one video of that but someone says totally. I could think totally. Wait, here it is. So blah blah blah. You made a bunch of base claims. Blah blah blah. Kain Nasaki. This one
is that the guy that made? I think that might be the guy that made like I Want to Be the Bossy, but I don't know if it's the same Kai. I think they were both named Kai.
Okay.
Not 100% sure on that.
Anyways, this person says totally. I can't think of a thing NKI has said in the history of this thread I disagree with. NKI is given would be the most thing people heard, but personally, so excuse me. This person,
no, you mean about DSP?
This is a DSP fan here. Okay, he says NKI hasn't ever given opinions on most of the things people hammer you about. Personally, I enjoy your contrary points, but pulling NKI's name out of your ass as some conspiracy is pretty silly. Oh well, he's not all the way in.
I'm pretty sure Kyan is from like Connecticut, so
Connecticut support. SKISONIC with the knowledge here. That's why we got you in the house here. By the way, let's go down to the next point here. 491. This I think that was the key here. Yeah, this right here just set Phil in another realm. He did not talk for a long time after this. We're gonna get back to more netcode talk. I gotta go down to 1,495. We're almost through this thread here. SKISONIC, I know you're a busy man, but you're having fun here today.
No, I got time, dude.
Okay, cool.
No rush. Chilling.
1456 right here. Such a different shirt says here, such a different game online. Oh, right here. Excuse me, right here. 457. I tried. So this is Phil after many months of not being on this thread. We're back here. Okay. I tried GGPO a couple of times last month, and although it was better than all the other online options I tried, it wasn't as good as offline.
Already backpedaling.
So now we're he saw the winds of change happening, and
there's nobody that agrees with him. You can't just keep saying it.
Yeah, so now he's he's backpedaling a little bit here. So here we go. First, there's always a chance of lag resulting in harder reversals and combos.
Oh my God.
Okay. Second, although people have disputed this fact, I did have drop inputs and skip frames.
All right, man.
Second, although people have pressing buttons and having nothing at all come out either means one of two things. My joystick is busted or the program is dropping my inputs.
This is way more than two things.
Considering I was using a Hori Real Arcade Pro 3 that I bought a few months ago and have rarely used, I have to believe it was the program. And after only a few games, I got tired of my opponents seemingly just appearing in front of me and hitting me with no frames in between. Okay, not saying it was.
That doesn't even happen in fucking Guilty Gear, dude. Like,
well, you know, we gotta hear the whole point here. Third, apparently to avoid input lag, you need to tweak your USB ports or something, which makes no sense to me. I guess Windows automatically delays inputs on USB, but that to me is a huge issue that somehow needs to be overcome without having to download separate programs that fuck with Windows registry settings. So he is just now we backpedal for it being horrible to there's these 3 points that are problems. It's not as good as offline, which that is literally impossible. That is literally impossible.
Yeah.
And it does drop inputs, which we already explained does not happen. And also apparently some USB settings might have to be changed. Do you have any information on that? Did USB settings have to be changed possibly? I mean, I guess.
No, like what it was like you can overclock your USB ports, and I think at the time it was like they were polling at 250 megahertz by default, and you could overclock it to 1000.
Okay.
But that's so like let me say it like this.
Yes.
Polling at 250 megahertz on the USB port should be fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it shouldn't cause any dropped inputs, but if you want to, like, overclock it, overkill, and make sure, right? It's like the kind of thing where I think within that time frame, like, maybe you get, like, a slight bit of delay. Like, it could be that your input would be delayed to the next frame by the mouse port, right?
Yeah.
But to be honest, like, I'm pretty sure that that's a placebo. Back at that time, I changed mine all the fucking time. I don't feel like it made any difference, right?
Okay.
But it was just kind of something that most people did to feel better about it, and I think as time went on, it became like more of a Windows standard feature. But it's absolutely not necessary, and I would assume that the majority of people that are playing GGPO didn't even bother because you had to kind of do a couple of extra things to do it, and it was just kind of like one of those like, over tweak it, get me over the top, make sure I'm getting everything out of it. But it was fine right out the box.
Okay, makes sense. Bottom line, it wasn't a bad experience, but it was definitely something to take me time to adapt to some of the subtle changes. So he says it would take you time to adapt to the changes of rollback netcode. So he thinks you have to play. He still thinks that's what I wanted to ask you. Is it literally possible to play differently when you know that you're doing rollback netcode? Is it? Is there something that's even in the cards there? Could you do that? Play differently based on the netcode you have?
The only thing that you could do do setups that like have like I can tell you that this is what happened and what actually happens in Guilty Gear. You can do setups that like you move very quickly, right? Because if you're moving very quickly and you get a rollback, then you're gonna see like the most change possible. That's really what it boils down to, right? Okay. So commonly with a friend of mine, right, that I had a really good connection with on Guilty Gear Xrd, so this is kind of recently, right? Yeah. He would do like a sort of a knockdown and then like a delayed air dash, right? So he's jumping and then he does a delayed air dash, so it looks like he's gonna land, but he does the air dash. And with rollback on that connection, I wouldn't see like the first couple of frames of the dash, right? But I mean, we're playing online. That's it. So you would do the same setup offline. I mean, there's no difference, but you could do it online and hope that they don't see a little bit of it. Okay. And that would be it. But there's really there's nothing that you can really change about your game because it's the closest thing to offline. You could just do things that but really it's the same as any online game where something that relies on having somebody react to it. You can try to lean on that and hope that the internet works out in your favor.
Okay. Let me know about the audio. You're a little bit hot on the mic still, SKISONIC. Could you, maybe turn it down a bit or maybe back away a little bit? I'm not sure, but one of those two.
I'll do both.
Yeah,
no problem. Just
let me know how that goes, everybody. Let me know how that goes. Okay, let's go down a little bit more here. So someone talks about the USB thing here, I guess. That input lag, however, if you're playing with input lag, I think you are, then yeah, I can see how you wouldn't want to go back. I remember how horrible it was before learning how to tweak the USB points. Okay, so this person is talking about the USB points, USB ports, whatever. And let's go to one for so DSP said it best. This person is in support of that.
It's fucking Zoolander.
So
that
can you
dude.
Yes.
Oh my god. Look, man, I don't know where he is today, so I don't want to like shit on him, but like of every person that was on IRC in the channel at this time, he was like the person that like you would least respect their opinion. So
okay, that's Zoolander. Enough said there. I get it. Okay. Then so this Fallout here says, I'm sorry, but while your point may be correct, there is no one who can identify with your complaints of dropped inputs and variable input lag. No one else who can identify, okay? No one else who can identify. The input lag is constant and inputs are never dropped on GGPO. That's the reason it's good in the first place. Very well put, Fallout, seems to me. Area, more praise for it. Exactly, shit, without GGPO, I don't know where to get my ST fix. The scene is pretty much done for here in NYC, so GGPO is all I have. And that's a lot. There's a lot of good competition online. Very well. Everyone enjoys it. This is real talk. Bob scared of. Okay. Oh, there we go. I like to see that. Okay, so a lot of people enjoying it. There's Damn Die in the house. Name some people might know. Let's go to Inkblot's post.
Also a developer.
Oh, there we go. Hype. Where is our boy Inkblot? Pipes in here. This is DSP. This DSP's response here. This person claps back to Phil and says, "I'm still kind of new to the HD beta, but here are my impressions so far. Blah 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 blah. In a nutshell, I'm not impressed. Okay, he's not impressed with the beta. Okay, but here says DSP has to. There's a little bit of negativity here, so I gotta clap onto it. Okay, I gotta clamp onto this. In HF, the game slowed down to a crawl when you had a bad connection. You knew when you had a bad game because it was apparent from the second the game loaded. In Street Fighter Super Turbo HD, GGPO, and all other online versions, they're basically hiding the lag, and you have no idea when your game is fine or when it is going to totally suck shit." So this is point
If
is
you're stupid and you can't read a ping number. Like, what the I don't know, man. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So he's saying it's better to know when you have a bad connection because then they're jumping, then you have the delay-based lag, which is when you get like literally slideshow, right?
But that's so stupid. You have a worse connection because of that. The connection plays better on the rollback netcode. If you play the same person in the same game with delay versus rollback, you'll have a better experience with the rollback every time.
So there we go.
It's such a stupid thing to say, right? That I want to feel the game be bad. I want the game to be bad rather than have the game seem good and then find out through the course of the game how the connection is. When if you have the ping, which some games do, most of them have some sort of indicator, right? Like you have an idea of what the connection is going to be. But what a weird formation of an argument to try to get behind. I need it to be delayed and worse, or else when it's better, when it's worse, I might not know that it's worse. It's fucking absurd.
So let's get to Inkblot responding to Phil again here and says, "What a load of crap. This is a gross mischaracterization, just like all of your other posts." Okay, so this is Inkblot getting serious now. Okay, so you're just lying now. Okay, you're just saying stuff that's not true. Hinaki here says, "You're a fucking dinosaur, and I don't just mean that in age." And then DSP was actually banned at that point. Inkblot did ban him at that point because of that. So he was banned because of that post and saying so much other stuff negative stuff about it. It's just lying. Nothing X's says, "How is GGPO anything like what you just said?" Right? So that's what else do you need there. That's next. You're fucking
Nothing XS is one of the Evo organizers.
Okay.
Now, but he wasn't then.
Okay.
They weren't then.
Again, so you're seeing, guys, all these people that are, names that have been around for a long time are never in favor of Phil, but the people that are, as SKISONIC has said, are those, people no one knows, or people don't like their opinion, like that other gentleman you mentioned. Anyways, we have Amaze. Sorry, this person's amazed at the Hinaki's comment because it's so good. Nindred said, "Okay, guys, do not."
Nigerian. That's Kai on Alphaism. Any of the episodes with Kai? That's Nigerian.
Oh, okay, sweet. Okay, nice. Okay, guys, do not listen to DSP about GGPO. When he came on the few times he did, he would complain about input lag. I explained him a ton of times about converters having input lag and being able to fix it by changing its USB polling rate. If he's still thinking input lag after doing that, then maybe his complaints would be taken more seriously. Unfortunately, he was using Vista. Changing your polling rate on Vista took more work at the time. He didn't want to do it. He was scared to uninstall 2 updates that was required to do it. Anyway, he played for a while and still blamed GGPO for the input lag. GGPO is set to 1 frame input lag by default for smoothing purposes. I set mine to 0 the majority of the time. Lag on GPO appears in different ways. You get things like rollbacks, and sometimes you get a minor freeze. Even with major packet loss, I've never gotten input lag. I've gotten crazy graphical glitches and everything else, but if I press my button, I get my attack. It may get rolled back, but my attack comes out. Bottom line, he is not a reliable source, and he talks out of his ass 90% of the time. Yes, I know this is public knowledge. Nitrid,
yeah,
please. Oh, God. Okay, well, the fun doesn't stop. The fun doesn't stop there. Where is it there? Let's go to 94. Phil, you're on crack. Smooth Cat, by the way. Smooth Cat is an Alphaism legend there. Phil, you're on crack. GGP. GPO work wonders for me. Is so good. As for lag, the only thing I ever got was some rollback when I'm playing Japan from Brazil players. But I always get the moves I want and always get my reversal. No input delay has ever happened to me. No input delay has ever happened to me. All right? I'm just showing this so you can see the sheer volume of it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and like let me just jump real quick because you saw that Nigel was explaining about Vista at the time, right?
Yeah.
But then there was another person that was, like I said, like probably a lot of people didn't even bother changing the polling rate. So, like I said, there was the person that was earlier that was like, I'm playing on Vista and I don't have any problems. He probably didn't change his polling rate, but he probably was just fine play it as it was. Maybe he wasn't using a converter or whatever. So
yeah,
even with the small problems with Vista, it was still a great experience for everyone.
Amazing. All right, so let's keep going here. Let's go to 1494. This now DSP somehow, even though he is banned, he is totally banned. He manages to say, "Where does this post say I'm talking about GGPO exclusively?" The paragraph you quoted starts with the generation of online play. Thanks for assuming. This is more directed toward STHT, where the problems are way worse than GGPO, and every game seems fine, except for the worst ones where everything is jittering all over the screen. In fact, my last statement in the paragraph 4 is directed solely at STHD. Way to jump the gun. However, the statement still stands. GGPO, STHD, and probably 2DF. What's that? 2D. Okay.
It's just like another GGPO type of suite called 2D Fighter. I think it also uses rollback netcode, but yeah.
Hang on. I think SKISONIC's have its okay. How about this, guys? Let me know about SKISONIC's audio now. I can't do anything else but that.
Is it too loud or too what?
They're saying robot-y, but I mean, it shouldn't have any robot because it's certainly not fine for me. He's not even overmodulating, but let me know how it goes. Anyways, however, the statement still stands. GGPO, SDHD, and it's probably what to make it in. I would rather have the game run in slow-mo so I know that the game will suck ass. Okay? I would rather have the game run in slow-mo so I know the game will suck ass rather than have it seem to run in real time and then end up getting raped when one move I'm doing doesn't come out, 2, clutch reversals don't come out, and 3, I can't react to things happening because of lag. Any comment?
It just seems like absurd. Like, you want the game to be worse. So when it's better, like in favor of like it being a better connection and then being able to play it, and like it's not going to change things to have delay and have a worse connection. If you play a rollback, you'll have a better connection with all of those people, and when you have a bad connection, it's still going to be pretty obvious, right? Like I don't understand this idea that like, oh, if there's rollback, I don't know. You see the rollbacks happen, but normally you have a good connection and it's just not that bad. Unless you're playing somebody like in Japan.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's to blame. It's GGPO, SD, second half of hardware. Software is a company. I don't know, and I don't care. But what I do know is if things don't go down online the same as they do offline, then it's not the same as ST. So this is the bitching about it's online, it's not online thing. And that has certainly been my experience so far with all forms of ST online play. Everyone here is so quick to go tooth and nail to defend their favorite form of online play, and everyone certainly has valid points about how there has been an ST resurgence because of GGPO. But at the same time, how many well-known, top-ranked ST players have posted about how they love this new generation of online play? I've seen exactly 0. Okay?
What kind of question is this?
If anything, players like Shirts and myself have said that they appreciate the effort. Do you know who Shirts is?
Yeah, Shirts. He's also a developer. I doubt that he said anything that agreed with DSP, but he's an old school Super Turbo player, like the only guy that plays Odalsum, and he worked on I think he worked on like God of War, stuff like that.
Okay, so I love how you said that he probably didn't say anything that agrees with DSP, because we're going to see Shirts in a second here. He says GGPO is the best effort so far, but it's still got a long way to go to match the offline experience. Again, Phil wants something that's impossible to match the experience, right? Sorry that we speak the truth and don't sugarcoat our opinions. Now he's speaking for Shirts here. He is speaking for Shirts. But that's just but that's just who we are, all right? That's who we are. Deal with it. And if you don't
that's just who we are. Wow. Me and Shirts
are the combo. They're the team, all right? So if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. All right, anyways, if they would never have the comp, blah, 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 they would never have the this alone warrants praise for the effort put in the project, and you should feel good about your time and effort that was dedicated to it, because obviously making a positive impact on the Street Fighter community. but I'm not willing to jump to the next step and say it's as good as offline play just yet. That's not possible. That is not possible.
Fucking weird, like, fucking boundary. Like, what a weird boundary to draw. What a weird, like, way to grasp at straws. And here come shirts.
Shirts in the house. King first says he's blaming GGPO for his execution. Lol. DSP is SRK's Village Fool. 2008. 2008, my friends. Let's go to shirts. GGPO is the best offline experience. Remember, this is the person that Phil said, we speak our mind and we tell it how it is, guys.
Me and shirts.
If you don't like it, you can't deal with it. Shirts and myself. Here we go. Shirt says, GGPO is the best online experience I've had because I can hide lag by playing with the smoothing. However, even with this option, the difference between online and offline play is substantial for me at least. The subtle differences are a huge factor in determining the outcome of a round, which is ST rounds 10 seconds. So this person is agreeing that it's online and offline is different, okay? But we're not done yet. I make no bones about it. I'm an arcade player. And the difference being emulated speed and arcade speed, whether it be US or Japanese speed, is substantial. Emulated is so much faster, just another personal factor playing online. So anyways, personally, GGPO is good for practicing matchups, just having fun, because most of the time it's a good experience. I won't name drop, but I've heard many other top players other than myself talk about online play in general, not just playing on GGPO, and how it's not to be taken serious for obvious reasons. Maybe I'm naive, and maybe I'm surprised to think online ST results can be taken seriously. If you know ST, then you would know, especially in certain matchups or if you play certain characters, the most subtle online difference has a huge impact on the outcome of the round. DSP, LOL, don't name drop me in your crazy rants.
Yeah, I mean, like, our shirts is kind of like an ST purist, so he's gonna be really, like, scrutinizing of any difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last line says it all.
Yeah,
Me and
don't
shirts.
bring me and shirts. Me and shirts. Inkblot comes in again. Says DSP does again. This person said zero.agender says Phil does have a point in that even if it's possible to make GGPO a better experience, more players are not willing to put in the time and effort to do so. How many people can't even be bothered to forward their ports? Forget changing USB polling rates. Okay. Inkblot says DSP does not have a point in the context of this thread. HD remix. These supposed limitations of GGPO are a consequence of it running on a PC. As Panda mentioned, there are no router USB settings that make the GGPO algo run better. All of these are non-issues on a console that is already set up to run on Xbox Live or PSN. Let's bring this thread back to discussion that is helpful to Capcom. How they are doing with the beta, and what feedback do you have to help them improve the quality of their game? That's how I knew this thread was that thread that DSP was mentioning about how this is the thread the Cannon brothers are trying to sell kind of to Capcom at this point. Few more here. Anything else? I think 80, then we'll be out of this thread here. It's a bit of fun one though. Here we go. This one here is about, okay, so this is the whole, the GGPO shit is done. We're talking about portraits now. Portraits, character portraits from the game. I hate the character portraits. I admit it. I also hated the ST character portraits, but I'd like to play this game in 2008. I don't know what else I can say. I've tried to be honest and represent the majority vote for the past year.
What?
And I've come up against massive hate.
Dude.
So he's trying to be with the majority vote. As you've seen, guys, I've shown you so many people. He's the majority now, he's saying. The majority vote.
What a fucking delusion.
Okay. I'm personally going to buy the game for both systems, but I know that nobody's going to give two shits about it if it's released anywhere close to Step 4. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, that was the thread about Rollback. Yes,
they're
please.
talking about HD Remix, I think the beta in this thread.
Yes. That's how we started talking about GGPO, yeah.
And so HD Remix, I don't think used GGPO, but it had rollback netcode. So I think like the Cannons consulted on it a little bit, and they were like, yeah, like what you're doing is like pretty much as good as what we're doing. But Capcom had not used the GGPO proper at that time. I don't know if they ever did, but they kind of like made their own in-house, solution, because Capcom, they didn't want to license something that, like not built in-house type of thing, especially being like a Japanese company, hard to make those kinds of connections. But yeah, that's kind of what that comes down to, right? Like HD Remix had a rollback netcode GGPO alternative.
Okay, makes sense to me. Okay, so last kind of a topic I want to talk about is obviously Phil's modern take on the Cannon brothers. But before we get on that, I want to ask you about the Cannon brothers. So the Mr. Wizard thing. Obviously he got, some nonsense happened not too long ago. I mean, a few years ago now. He was kind of can't be involved in EVO anymore.
Yeah.
Phil has stated since then that pretty much everyone knew about this. Would you say, what would be your take on that? He said pretty much everyone knew about it, but no one said anything. Is that kind of what your understanding was of that situation, or what?
Okay, so what are we saying? What is the reason that we're talking about specifically?
From my understanding, it is there was some made some younger people do some stupid stuff that might not necessarily be sexual, but I believe like getting naked and jumping in water and stuff.
Okay,
that kind of stuff.
I think that's a fair assessment of what I know, right? And
Okay.
so like, I would say that West Coast people, right? Like a lot of those people knew about those kinds of things because they were all participating in that kind of, fucking horsing around, right? Like Wizard had like I guess like more like his own tact, but they were all fucking around like throwing people into the pool and shit like that. But I think like because Wizard was like a little bit older, and also he had like I think he worked there, so he could give you tokens and shit. Yeah, like at a position of authority.
Yeah.
That was more of like this abuse of power, and especially towards like younger people.
Mhm.
But it's not like to somebody like me that didn't like live over there and never went to Golfland. It's not like I knew the extent of like anything that was going on day to day. You just kind of hear stories about people getting thrown in the pool, or people being told to go into the pool for whatever weird reason for tokens or whatever. And it's just like shit that kind of like is like kind of in the vernacular, in the lore, I should say.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of stuff that like, later on people were able to like speak out on and say like, this actually made me uncomfortable. And like the way that people were looking at these activities, they they were able to say like, oh, like this was actually wrong. But a lot of those people were so young at the time that it was just kind of shit that all kind of folded in. Like we were just all fucking young dumbasses.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Okay. How about okay, how can I ask this one? So was it like the Cannon brothers, before they had any about this GPO netcode, how did they were they the ones that literally started SRK? Like were they just the ones that started the website, or what? Or were they just people that kind of steamrolled it to being popular? If you don't remember, that's obviously fine too. But.
So I think that they did, but it could have been. No, I'm gonna say no. It's their site. It was their site. I mean, they sold it, so they had to have started it because it didn't change hands. So yeah, like they made SureYouCan.com and they made Evo.
Yeah. So was that just from their own like because like starting SRK, how did they make it become the most popular one? Was there nothing else, or theirs was like the best one that made it the best? Like did they have some kind of they create the features that made it the best, or what? Or was it just like there was nothing else?
It was the forums. It was the forums, and it was because basically SureYouCan.com was like the main outgrowth of the Western tournament scene, and like they would congregate on like the news groups.
Yeah.
So alt.games. Street Fighter 2. You can go back and see posts of the same people on the news groups even further back, right? And they, I guess, they also had the IRC channel around that same time. And I'm pretty sure though that Tragic started the IRC channel.
Okay.
And so like somewhere between the news groups and the IRC channel, the Cannons created the website. And it just had like it had some nice tutorials, like how to run a tournament bracket. That's where I learned like the ins and outs of that, because they had an article about that. They also had an article on that Japan versus America that happened after B4. They had like a little breakdown of that, and just like some little articles, like just a handful that you could see that were, I mean, there's nothing else like that because nobody else was doing anything for like that for years. Nobody else was actually documenting it or recording these kinds of things. So they led the way.
Yeah. Okay.
And they maintained the site. Those were the people that like started that, and they started Evo. I mean, they're essentially the granddaddies of the scene. They started SureYouCan, they started Evo.
Makes sense. All right, let's get a little bit of take of this. Video is entitled "Why Rollback Netcode is Better." Explains why Rollback Netcode is awesome. DSP, of course, has some thoughts that I want to get your take on before we adjourn for the night.
Netcode 100% same thing.
Excuse me. Let's get.
What about time?
Rollback netcode works because when the predictions are correct, things are in sync, and when it's not, it gets corrected before anyone notices. Sometimes huge lag spikes can go unnoticed if all the predictions are correct in that time, and you might be surprised just how often the predictions are correct.
How fast do people move the controller? How many inputs are there? There's probably...
And here's why this netcode is complete bunk.
Okay, let's hear. Didn't give Mr. Cannon a chance to talk, but let's hear why it's bad, okay?
And people don't understand why it's junk. Because it allows for people who play exactly the same all the time to always have advantage. Because think of what they're saying. It's going to assume that what you were just doing is what you're still doing. So what if you always do the same thing?
So what if you always do the same thing?
What if you always do the same thing? Then what? That is not logical, right? That's just not logical. It doesn't make a difference. That there's no advantage there, right?
Yeah.
Because it's preserving what you do either way. It's actually the opposite, right? What that would imply is if you're doing different things, then the other person would get rollbacks, so you would be screwing with them. So you have the fucking advantage. He's an idiot.
Let's go.
So you always get what you want because the code favors you. What about someone who's unpredictable? What about someone who mixes up what they're doing all the time? That's their game style. What about someone who has a reactive play style? They wait to see what you're doing, then they react to it to stop it.
So wait, so that was a funny statement. So he sees what you see what they're doing, then you react to it. And I'm assuming he's talking you have extra time to react because of the lag is happening. You help me here, SKISONIC. What's he saying right
He's
now?
just saying, like, what if... He's basically saying, like, what if you're not offensive? What if you're defensive, right? Then you are disadvantaged because you will not get what you input. But that is wrong. Your inputs are preserved. It doesn't change that, right? Like, the prediction is part of the GGPO that I can't really get into because that's, like, the real technical part of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just know that it's improved vastly over the years, which is why when anyone plays rollback netcode in literally any game, it feels very good.
Yeah.
But this argument that he's making that it feels worse because of these reasons, it's just illogical. They don't stand up.
Let's go. We're almost done here.
Well, that's not favored by rollback netcode. This netcode says just do the standard thing over and over, and you'll always get what you want because the rollback assumes you're still doing the same thing. Just think.
That doesn't make any sense. Obviously, I don't have to tell you, but this is one of the most insane statements I've ever heard.
Why?
The rollback doesn't assume. It still takes the input. It would just roll back in that case, right? Like, it wouldn't assume and then you get the wrong thing. It would take what you actually did and then cause a rollback. This is like a fundamental misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Assumes you're still doing the same thing. Just think about that. The netcode 100% skews what you're going to see as an outcome online because it literally is trying to predict based off of what you've already been doing and essentially rolls the dice and says, well, the person who did that fierce punch 7 times in a row is probably just going to do the fierce punch again. So give it...
No. No. It's not like that. That would be fucking insane. No, it just looks at, like, the last input that you did and holds it, basically. Like, it's not trying to fucking... It's not like a fucking ghost. It's not like a KI ghost where it's trying to, like, predict you as a computer, build a profile, and then send a... Oh, my God.
He thinks the game predicts what move you're going to do, as in literal moves.
That's fucking absurd. That's absurd.
But the person who tried to react to the fierce punch and do the Shoryuken through it, don't give them the Shoryuken. Give the other person the fierce punch.
Yo, like, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, nobody could watch this and have any detailed knowledge and ride with it. All you could do is laugh. But there's a lot of people that just don't know. And I guess, he's figured out a way to tap that fan base.
Oh, man. That's incredible. So the game watches you and says, oh, I'd rather give this person this move than not the other person. That makes sense, okay?
That would be insane. If that was just a netcode running... Bro.
Netcode is sentient.
We're just going to do the fierce punch again, so give it to them. But the person who tried to react to the fierce punch and do the Shoryuken through it, don't give them the Shoryuken. Give the other person the fierce punch. Why? Oh, because that's rollback netcode, bro. It's just giving the
Oh, yeah.
That's rollback
Right.
netcode, bro.
Rollback
And if
netcode,
it
bro.
happens to catch the mistake, it'll try to fix it after the fact. But it's too late. The game's already ruined. That's rollback netcode. That's
Okay.
what people think is good. Oh, that's the best.
It's like fucking
Dude,
Joe
what are you
Rogan.
talking about?
Yep.
You're literally favoring people who play like dunces. People who literally do the same fucking thing all the time.
This is unbelievable. Not understanding that's what I showed on my Twitter earlier. How he's been hating netcode since 2008. That's when he first made a negative thought about it. And you know what? Because Tom Cannon banned his ass for saying lies on this important thread for them, and he's hated ever since. That's it. That's all
Yo,
we're here
actually, he
for.
hated them before that.
Okay, keep going.
He always hated them because he always thought that like the West Coast would like rig their tournaments against East Coast players.
Yes,
And
I've heard that. Yeah.
So like he already hated them, and was already conspiratorial towards them. And and to be fair, one time, this was at B5, they shorted Justin, I think like $600 or something.
Yeah,
I think they like literally did the math wrong.
Yeah.
And so they like paid him later or something. They paid him, and it was like within the same day, as I understand it. It wasn't like they paid him much later, but they like miscalculated the fucking totals. And he was like, "See, see."
Okay, so now we know the lore goes even deeper. So that's why the hate for Cannon exists to this day. 25 years of hate, while the Cannon brothers are living their fucking life, making a new fucking game coming out. You know, just changing fighting game community on an absolutely fundamental level. You know, that's not talking too much. Am I Ski? They like did so much stuff for the fucking fighting game community.
There's
who's done
nobody,
more?
nobody, literally nobody's done more. And I mean, you can. That's why the award is called the Cannon Award, motherfuckers. If you did it, if you changed the FGC, you're like a cannon, because the cannons are the ones that have brought the most change. Like if there weren't Shoryuken, Evo, and Rollback, none of this exists. There's none of this. None of this is here. We're all playing fucking League of Legends and Dota.
Amazing. Almost
they don't
done.
think. They just play. You favor them. Why do you
Hold on.
all the time? They don't think. They just play. You favor them.
Wow.
Why do you think the online pattern play is so prominent in modern fighting games? But idiotic people demand the rollback netcode. All right? This is lazy man's netcode. This is
He's calling them lazy. People that, okay, here are the two options. Someone that sits on their ass and plays video games all day, or people that literally create games, create netcode, create SRK website, create Evo, the tournament's going on for 30 years. You tell me who's lazy, everybody. Come on.
He's saying that it's lazy, like, because if you just do the pattern, then it doesn't roll you back. And it's like, oh, the lazy play. He's creating this fucking narrative that, like, oh, if you play better, then roll back disadvantage you. And it's complete bullshit. It's not reality.
Yeah.
netcode. All right? This is lazy man's netcode.
Lazy man's netcode, okay?
This is, we
For the
didn't
lazy
actually
man.
have an intelligent way to solve the problem, so we mask the problem.
Oh my
Instead
God,
of-
what?
Yeah, so this is another take here. Another insane take. This is a cannon blast. Thank you, DB James. He thinks that the goal of the lag netcode is not to make the experience better, it's to hide lag.
That's how you make the experience better. Huh? That's literally it. Yes. Because the
timing.
lag's there, stupid. You can't get rid of it. If it happens,
Solving the
Yeah. Like, and
that
that's
is the solve.
Yeah.
problem.
That's
That's
here we
exactly
go.
what this is. Because rollback netcode makes the match look like it's not laggy, when in reality it's not. You're actually
No.
not getting the outcome that actually happened on the controller. You're getting
No.
whatever the netcode guessed was happening, and then it might happen to fix it after the fact. The other thing they haven't addressed,
It might happen to fix it. Well, if they get around to it, we'll happen to fix it.
I don't know if they
Why do
will.
you think this
Drop
motherfucker's never had a co-host, never had a fucking, a talking gallery, anybody there to push back? This is just ridiculous.
That's a great point. He can't have a show with anyone else because then he wouldn't have anyone. Then he have people to actually question what he says. So
input.
can't have that.
Rollback netcode has a significant amount of dropped inputs because when it's trying to make
Remember that, guys. Remember how much I showed you earlier, everybody watching? It was not, we showed you how everyone said, that one guy said it so fucking clearly. The thing Rollback netcode does is make sure there's no dropped inputs. It might come later if it has to, but it's going to come. But nope, it's significant dropped inputs. Find one other person on Earth to say that.
Rollback netcode has a significant amount of dropped inputs because when it's trying to make, what's the word? When they're trying to figure out what really happened and catch the game back up, sometimes it just will say, fuck it, and it'll just drop the input. I had this fucking conversation with that man.
All right, here's the crux. I want to hear what you think about this, SKISONIC. He's going to claim something. Yeah, he's going to lie a fat one here, and I want to hear what your take on this. Obviously, we can't know the truth because you're not Sir Cannon, but I want to know if you think this is possible. Okay, let's hear about this talk.
In an IRC chat, all right? This very conversation we're having right now in this video and on this stream, I had it directly with that man in an IRC chat room in the mid-2000s when he was trying to sell rollback netcode to Capcom.
This would happen during the time that thread I showed you guys was happening, by the way. That was when this IRC chat is happening he's going to talk about here.
All right? Yeah. And I put all of this data and all of this information and analysis on shoryuken.com where they had a thread. He made the thread on, that's his website. He had the thread saying, I want feedback on rollback.
I showed you that.
And all the feedback that was positive, they left, and everything that was negative, they deleted.
They did not. They did not delete DSP's post. I can 100% prove that. We saw it today. So they didn't. That's the first lie. How many more lies we gonna get?
And all the feedback that was positive, they left, and everything that was negative, they deleted.
Okay. And
I went to this man on IRC and I said, "Why are you deleting criticism that's true?" I said, "Are you going to tell me that rollback netcode is not dropping inputs to rectify the two sides?" He said, "No, it does that." So you're admitting it to me. Yes, I will admit.
He is saying that Sir Cannon said that it does drop inputs.
No, he's lying.
The two sides? He said, "No, it does that." So you're admitting it to me. Yes, I will admit to you that the rollback netcode eats inputs on purpose to rectify it to make it look like there's no lag. So why don't you want people to know that? Because I'm trying to sell the netcode to Capcom and I don't need them to know that.
Why would he say? Well, so he's being nefarious, but he just admits it to fucking DSP, the biggest fucking idiot mouth. That doesn't even make sense. If he was gonna be sneaky, he would be sneaky, and he would just tell them to fuck off. That's stupid. He also said he put all of this data and analysis. Y'all saw the threads. Zero data.
There's no data. Yeah.
Not a factoid. Not a single datum of data.
In fact, he made fun of NKI for having data. Don't forget that. He made fun of NKI for bringing data.
Not a goddamn
I'm trying to sell the
netcode
netcode to Capcom, and I don't need them to know that.
Bro, that's fucking slander.
He told me that.
He should. They should sue him for that, bro. For real. That's bullshit. That's literal slander.
Yes. And if it's so easily for them to say that's not true too. And again, like nice point there saying, do you think Tom Cannon, who clearly is not friends with DSP, even back in the day, I'm saying 2008, they already aren't happy with him, he would tell DSP all these facts? Come on. Come on. Oh yeah, Phil, let me give you a little secret, trade secret. Yeah, it does drop inputs, bro, but keep it on the DL. Would you mind? Okay.
Okay. And this was the mid-2000s. We're now almost 20 years later. And people still are like, oh, rollback netcode's the best. Oh, you mean the netcode that literally just rewards someone who plays exactly the same over and over and doesn't reward someone who's smart and tries to react to what they're seeing? The netcode that literally eats inputs to make it look like there's no lag? That's the best netcode? Again, it's a band-aid on the problem to make the game look better online. It doesn't give you a better actual situation or better outcome. It's not better connection. It just looks better because the rollback hides the lag. So you would never know. You would never know if someone's doing a special move and it drops their input because the netcode hides it. But somehow we reward this man. Oh, he's so smart. Yeah, you're so smart because you hid the fucking problems and brushed them under the rug instead of fixing them. But don't.
Bro, this is like what stupid people can do. Like,
yeah,
it's incredible. Go on, let him.
Go ahead. Yeah, that right. It's almost done.
Because I'm trying to sell the netcode. Now every major game uses this netcode. For what? It's not good. We for
We'll
20
speed 'em up.
years almost, people thinking this is the best netcode. No, it's not. You need to, there's much we could definitely, if people wouldn't just accept this as the solution, all right, we would have people actually actively trying to fix it. But instead, people have just accepted rollback's the best. We can't get any better. So that's it. Yeah, it's bullshit. It pisses me off because the entire
Here we
community
go.
always
Entire
saying this
community.
nonsense, and I was the only one.
No,
who was
only
willing
one.
to speak up about this shit. Rollback netcode is not good. All it does is make the game look good and drops your inputs in order to hide the truth. I'm sorry. They just fucking explained it. That's
They explained it
You
in the
didn't even let it play.
They explained it in the video that why rollback netcode is better. They didn't explain that, by the way.
Same thing over and over. If you're Guile and you throw Sonic Boom, you walk forward, Sonic Boom, medium punch, you'll get that 99% of the time. The guy who tries to react to your Sonic Boom, like jump over it, won't get to jump over it.
Okay,
Because that's
right?
something different than what the game thought you were going to do the millionth time in a row,
Huh?
so you don't get it. And then if you do get it, it might drop your input anyway to hide the lag, so therefore you still get hit by the Sonic Boom. Why do you think no one can react to projectiles in Street Fighter 6? This is fucking why. This guy, this fucking
Yo, wiki
guy
this too.
is the
Wiki
reason why
this
no one can
too.
jump over
I will.
Guile.
Massive cope. One successful man, one beggar.
All right.
Dude.
Anyway.
Okay, that's that. That's the end of that one.
It's like
Go ahead.
this kind of thing, man. With a person like this that can be so far removed from reality. These are like the kinds of things that are so frustrating and it's just so irritating. But you can, it's obvious because here we are, right? 20 years later, and still no one agrees with him, right? Every single player that has been better than him ever has been like GGPO netcode, rollback netcode. Actually, I was actually talking about this with people recently. Right? So there was some, as I am told, there were some European KOF players that were also anti-GGPO because they were already playing KOF on like K-Lara or whatever the fuck. And they were just basically like DSP. But I mean, I would say that there were probably, you know, less than 10 or whatever, like a handful. And one of them is prominent, but none of these are people that anyone that's listening has ever heard of because like they're not, they're not real. Like the real players are all in agreement. And that this person can still sit here 20 years later with his whole concocted narrative that is, it almost sounds coherent in and of itself if you just listen to it. But if you have the smallest detail, the smallest bit of insight, it all falls apart. It's like so absurd. But I mean, that's his whole fucking shtick.
Amazing. I got a few questions here to kind of roll from people that want to ask you here. So I want to go through those before we let you have a good Saturday night here. Real quick, after that moment at Winter Brawl 5, right? When the match was over, let's say we finished the match. Was there any talk between you and DSP after that?
I definitely tried to like apologize or whatever. I was just like, yo, like I wasn't trying to like, you know, come at you real hard or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember that he was kind of like, oh, like, no, whatever. And then I think he went and posted later and said I talk shit about him. And around this time, he had done that a couple of times. So I was just like, damn, like this dude is like a weirdo Two-Face because like you played the video and you saw like what it, you know, just for yourself on what you heard. But I was trying to just like use this little bit of time that I had and be like emphatic and deliberate, right? And so later I just tried to, you know, apologize or whatever and say like, yo, like, you know, smooth this over. And I think he just kind of was just like, yeah, whatever. And then he went and talked shit about it later, like he did the other time. This time that we money matched in Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah,
he fucking lost, and then he went and talked shit about me later, like I was fucking trying to run him down with this money bet that we had already placed months in advance. And I kept trying to, I was like, oh, you're here at my tournament, son. You trying to play this game? He was like, yeah, like, give me later or whatever. And I was like, oh, like 6 hours later, you trying to play now? Sure. Fucked him up, took us $100, and then he went on the Sure You Can forums and was like, he badgered me for this money match all day. Motherfucker. No, you don't have to play.
Okay.
She's just that kind of dude.
How about what was he like at the tournaments? Because we've heard from some people on the forums and on the Alphaism show that he was in the tournaments. He was kind of more normal than online.
Yeah, he's
right?
cool. He's fine. I mean, this is typical online asshole. They hang out around people and they know to like just chill out. He was fine, but like just as time went on and people were like way less accepting because people aren't gonna put up with the two-faced shit so much. You're gonna talk all this shit and then come in person and then try to like, oh, like it was all you and be all super fucking humble and shit. He had like these like online altercations that spilled into real life via either physical or nearly physical, like with Jaha, or like with money matches, like with Mix Up and Blazini Flow, and I think he fucking lost to both of those dudes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he would just like fucking talk a lot of shit, get fucked up, and then talk shit about the shit talking later, and that's just how he rolls.
How about the new thing coming out? Is Phil is saying about Street Fighter 6 in particular that it's an old boys club. The FGC is kind of an old boys club. The good best players are. And they will conspire together, and they're all doing that now by playing on PC only, and because PC has definite advantages, he claims, on Street Fighter 6. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say the first part was true to some extent.
Okay,
but I mean, to what extent and to what level they would conspire, quote unquote, right?
Yeah,
it's more just like to get respected by a top player. And that way, you would kind of like need to show that you can hang with them, right?
Yeah.
And once you're one of them, then they talk to you as a top player, which is why, he made tophaters.com, right? Because he just hates the fucking fact that he won't be included in something.
Yeah.
But, in terms of like real conspiracies, people do their dirt at tournaments and those kinds of things have been done. I mean, back in the day, what we would do a lot is split, right?
Yeah.
So, in the grand finals, it would be like two people that are friends, and they're like, all right, we're going to split and just play, right? So at the time, people didn't really mind, but that does mess with the competitive integrity. So when things got more serious, that basically went away. But, little things like that, when things were smaller, yeah, sure. But the idea that people are playing on PC for an advantage is super stupid. There's just Arturo, NYC Furby, who is pushing for people to have like these. He's just pushing the envelope in terms of like lowering the latency on the setups.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
And if you want to, you could go talk to Arturo online right now, and he'll tell you exactly what to do. He'll be like, buy this monitor, do these tweaks, do this with your FGC OS, blah 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 blah, right?
Yeah.
And it may improve your experience a little bit, but it's not something that most people need to be concerned about. It's not something that to the level that most people are ever going to interface with.
Yeah.
And like once you get to that level, you have the choice, right?
Yeah.
There is some controversy about that in the fighting game community, but he's not really like talking about it or buying into it. The way that he's framing it as this like fucking conspiracy is like super weird. Whereas in reality, it's an ongoing conversation, and Arturo, the main person behind it, has faced a lot of pushback because of how like aggressive he is pushing this. But most people are just like, all right, like, can I get like a 240 hertz monitor? All right, cool, like that's it, I'm good.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, how about how Phil claims that getting to master is something obviously a lot of people wish they could do and can't do. However, it seems to me that every good player has fucking every character on master without a problem. Every big player that does streaming for a living. Is master mean anything? Phil really likes to hold on to, hey, I'm a master and I'm pretty good. But what do you think about getting to master itself? Is that something to be applauded?
I mean, it's cool. Like anybody could do it. You don't have to be good to be master, especially now, right? Like maybe when it started, there's a little bit of a drain over time, right? Where everybody starts to get in. It's an accomplishment in that like you have played a lot and you probably like can hang and yeah, like you could probably go to a tournament and feel like I'm not just gonna lose with no resistance.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it just is. It's more of like a personal accomplishment because like if you've played Street Fighter for this long, you kind of want to separate yourself from everyone else.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really mean anything. Like, it doesn't. It just you just play a lot and you'll get there. You don't need to have a particularly high win rate to achieve master in Street Fighter 6. You just got to keep playing. You'll get there.
Obviously we talk about Justin Wong a lot on here on this show because obviously how early on was he like he was the best? I mean, as seen as the best, you know? Because I mean, obviously there's great players that aren't just Justin Wong, but you know, it's kind of accepted that he was obviously one of the legends, Mount Rushmore style player. But how long ago did that kind of start of him like being one of the just the best?
Justin got second place at his first tournament and then didn't lose a tournament for like 5 years after that. So if you go back, I think that there's like on a B4 tapes, Arturo is like, yo, like I'm here and Eddie's here, but the real best MVC2 player is this fucking fat kid from Chinatown Fair. We call him the bully because he just takes everybody's lunch money. That was Justin Wong.
Damn, that's cool. That's cool. All right, SKISONIC, it's been a lot of fucking fun, man. Thanks so much for coming on. I'll link everyone to your Twitters. They can go follow you there. But anything else going on you want to plug here, or just the Twitter's good, or any you still doing commentating? I know, but anything on your horizons here?
Nah, man. Like I'm just real sad about Rumbleverse. That was my shit, and it's gone. Still.
God damn it.
So I wish I could plug that, but I can't. But yeah, like I'm. The pandemic sort of took me out of like going to my local spot for a while. So I'm going to try to start doing that soon. And, you know, maybe you'll see me at the Xanadu tournaments. But otherwise, yeah, just give me a shout on Twitter if you had fun, because I had fun. This was great.
Awesome, dude. Thanks so much. And obviously, maybe I'll bother you again in half a year or so. We can get some more stories from you because it's been a lot of fun for us. But thanks so much, my friend. You are a legend. SKISONIC in the house, everybody. Please follow him on Twitter. He gave us the time, and he gave us a good time for sure. Thanks so much, my friend. We'll see you guys in the next one. You're all legends.
See ya.
Fourth place doesn't get anything. I'm sorry.